of the press. My name is MUWADA NKUNYINGI, the Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs. Ladies and gentlemen and Ugandans, this is a statement in respect to Uganda nationals abroad. And it's on the Uganda nationals who have been taken hostage in Myanama, which is formerly known as Burma, by rebel groups, and the thousands of Uganda nationals who are detained abroad. As a Shadow Minister for Foreign Affairs, I have received the credible information and numerous correspondences from victims that suggests that hundreds of Uganda nationals, by my counting, estimated at 450 Ugandans, are being held as hostages in Myanmar by alleged rebel groups for months now. Most of these victims had traveled for work, some tourism, some education, under several unclear circumstances. We don't know who took them, whether it is government or private groups. Many of these victims narrate that they had been promised work in countries like UAE and Thailand, but later diverted. The so-called Myanmar is popularly known in the public as Burma. There have been several uprisings in that country. Unfortunately, because Uganda and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has not issued travel advisory or guidance whatsoever, many of our Uganda nationals continue to become victims or to fall victim of such traps. As we speak, over 450 Uganda nationals are being held hostages by rebel groups, rebels. And they are being used, some taken on the front line to fight, some into hacking, some taken as wives or concubines. And we presuppose some may even have been raped, especially for those who are vulnerable. We demand that government of Uganda and Ministry of Foreign Affairs urgently and unconditionally initiate diplomatic measures of rescuing the over 450 Ugandans currently being held by rebel groups in Myanmar. Secondly, many Ugandan nationals in hundreds are being detained in Egypt and have been denied exit. Some have been fined over $500,000 each on immigration cases and denied exit. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Government of Uganda must urgently initiate measures of rescuing the Ugandan nationals currently stuck or detained in Cairo and various parts of Egypt. This has been ongoing. I'm briefed by the victims that there is an immigration crackdown. But what is more disturbing is that they have put a fine of $500,000. I doubt that any kadama in Egypt can actually pay that. So in essence, many who even want to exit cannot exit. We want government of Uganda and Ministry of Foreign Affairs to urgently initiate measures of rescuing equally the Ugandan nationals who are currently stuck and detained in Cairo and various parts of Egypt, because they cannot afford the money, some are in detention, and they are in thousands. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue to challenge, to deal with the detentions, persecution of Ugandan nationals, especially in the Middle East. We don't see any clear government response coming up to respond to these anomalies. Government of Uganda and Foreign Affairs Ministry must address the plight of Ugandans, especially those abroad. We can't continue to celebrate, and we can't hear statements that you celebrate that Uganda is hosting so many international summits when nothing Ugandan is being addressed. Because what would be Ugandan is for us to engage at international forums for the benefit and to the advantage of Ugandan nationals. But as we speak now, thousands are detained in Egypt. the Egyptian team probably was here. Thousands are detained in Myanmar. Thousands are detained in the Middle East. All these countries were here. Nothing was done even to negotiate for the plight of Ugandan nationals. Not even diplomatic engagements, bilateral agreements being signed. We find it so strange and deliberate to make Ugandans suffer, especially Ugandan nationals abroad. So we can't celebrate that Uganda hosted so many international summits, built a beautiful hotel, when Ugandans who must benefit squarely from the foreign relations are suffering in foreign countries. They are being detained. They are being denied almost everything and fined exorbitantly. We condemn it, and we shall continue to condemn it. We demand that the Foreign Affairs Ministry must address the plight of Ugandan nationals. Lastly, we are by government and Minister of Foreign Affairs to groom career diplomats, and they end up appointing only political appointees. Every time, every appointment, you hear Adonia for UN, Adonia for NAM, Adonia will also be for East Africa, maybe, and for African Union. It's because we are not training career diplomats. The last time I asked in Parliament, they told me that these ambassadors, once appointed, are taken to Chiangkwanzi. They are trained in holding gun. When I check the Foreign Affairs Ministry, majority of our diplomats are political appointees. Some are even military serving men appointed as diplomats. Now we are failing and losing out on the side of diplomacy. That's why Uganda is appointing one person for every representative role, and that denies us chance of addressing the core issues. For example, someone appointed to these countries where you find majority countries in the Middle East would front concerns of Uganda and Ugandan nationals, not only concerns of Mr. Museveni and his regime, but we also have concerns of Ugandan nationals and Ugandans abroad. We challenge that there must be efforts to revamp diplomatic training for our country and diplomacy than relying on political appointees who are mostly NRM diehards. We have lost it as a country, and that's why nothing is being done to address diplomatic concerns. We see no diplomatic and travel guidance from even our missions with us they exist. I haven't seen the Foreign Affairs Ministry cautioning Ugandans from going to Myanmar or the nearby countries, well aware that even those who are there are now in detention and in hands of rebel groups. I haven't seen any efforts to address their plight or to secure their return. It is absurd, but we shall continue, and indeed anytime from now I'm intending to also move Parliament over the same matter, over the same matter on the plight of Ugandan nationals, especially now those detained in Myanmar and those detained in Cairo, Egypt, and there's so many other nationals who are struggling for survival and for release in the countries mostly in the Middle East. I thank you.